All right, hi guys. So today we're going to be going through a little bit of editing in Lightroom. So I have a photo that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to just go through it and show you how I am going to edit this photo. So let's jump in and get started. Okay, so this is the photo here that I am going to be editing today. So what it is a very basic lifestyle product photo setup, and I've simply just done this in my living room, just used a wooden stool and then set up this candle and a few props just to make it look a little bit of a more relaxing scene. Now, this picture isn't perfect yet, but this is what we're going to do now, is to make it perfect. So, we're currently in the library mode of Lightroom, so let's click over to develop, and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to straighten this candle a little bit. So I'll just open the crop tool, and here we've got an angle tool. So if I click on that, I can actually draw along a straight line on the picture. So I'm just going to use the side of the label here and just draw down that, and that instantly straightens my picture for me. Now that has cropped it a little bit where I don't want it, so I'm actually just going to drag that across slightly so that we've still got those blue flowers and the matchbox in the picture. So I'm going to double click to accept that crop. Now, I'm quite happy with the background and the lighting on the flowers and the props, but the candle needs to be brightened up a little bit. It's a little bit too dark for what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the selective edit tool, adjustment brush, which is up here, and then I can just actually change all my settings within here. So I'm just going to increase the brightness, the exposure a little bit on that. And then I'm just going to paint over the candle here. So that might be a little bit too bright at this moment, but we'll see how it comes out. So a little bit of painting, and then I can make some more adjustments in a second. So that's maybe a little bit too bright. So I'm just going to bring that down a little bit. That looks a little bit better. But let's just push the whites on that up a bit so that we get that label coming out. Again, just do a little bit more painting, just to show how that's coming out, and just making that look nice and bright, just the candle. Okay, so it's going to take a few minutes just to get this perfect, but that's okay, we've got time. So we've got the erase tool here, so I can turn on the show select mask overlay, which is down the bottom here, and that shows the area that I've painted. It shows it in red. So I'm now going to use the eraser tool down here, and now I can actually erase some of the bits that I don't want. So I'm just going to go around the edge here and just erase some of those bits, just to again make sure I'm getting that just affecting the area that I want it to affect and not covering too much of the props and the background. So we want to just make sure that we are isolating the candle in this edit bit here, in this adjustment brush. So again, just a little bit extra there, and then across the top here. And I think that should be looking quite good. Now, the glass on that candle's not looking very natural, so I might actually just go over and just delete some of that. Just a little bit. So we're getting that white background there. Now, this wasn't a perfectly white wall, and we don't necessarily have to have it as a perfectly white wall. It's all just about playing around until you get it exactly how you want it, which can take some time, admittedly. So just across there a little bit. Again, working a lot on this label. This label is the bit that really needs the most work. Really make sure that label's standing out, and I really want to make sure we're getting the color of the candle standing out as well. So that's looking a lot better. So if I click out of this, and I can just show you what this looked like when I imported it. That's how it was when we imported it, and this is how it is now. So that candle is really popping now. That's exactly what we want. It's still not perfect. In fact, I'm just going to see if I can change the white balance. So we've got this eyedropper tool here, and if I just eyedrop on the background, that does give us a bit more of a blue tone, which is not really what I was going for. I wanted much more of a warm light. So I'm just going to push that temperature back up a little bit towards the yellow, so that we're getting a nice warm tone coming in, and maybe a little bit towards the pink in the tint. So we want that light to feel warm, and it was nice and warm. So that is what we want. We don't want a really cold blue or dark scene. So it's all just about playing. I'm going to add a little bit of dehaze. See what that does. I love the dehaze tool. It is one of my favorite tools. It adds a little bit of contrast, and it just makes things stand out a little bit. So it gets rid of any haziness within the picture. And again, I'm loving how that's working on that candle now. A little tiny bit of contrast. And just playing around, push the highlights up a little bit. And maybe the shadows just a tiny bit. Tiny little bit on the exposure. Not too much. Remember, I want to keep these props kind of dark. I don't want them to be standing out, but I want the candle to be standing out. So I'm pretty happy with the lighting and everything on that now. So the final thing I'm going to do is work on these reflections that we've got in the glass here. Now this is the most annoying part to do. So what we've got is this spot removal tool here. So I'm going to zoom in. So I'm going to go into 100% onto this candle, and I can just use the space bar, and then I can click and drag around the image whilst I'm within this tool. And I can use this, I can just use the scroll on my mouse to change the size of the brush. And we've got the option up here of clone or heal. So I'm currently on heal, but I tend to switch between both clone and heal, just trying out and seeing what works best on the picture that I am using. So let's just get rid of that mark there. That's perfect, okay? That's a good start. I'm just going to go and remove some of these reflections. So we've got a big reflection here that I'm not liking so much. So again, just click on that. Now that hasn't automatically gone to the place I want. So I'm going to just drag this down to find a better place for it. So just line that up with the top of the label there. Just little movements. And my computer's being a little slow because I'm recording this, so it's taking me a little longer, but that's all good. That looks a lot better now. And what about this weird mark here? This is really kind of distracting and annoying. So let's see what I can do with this. With that, a little bit of a drag across there. Let's see what happens when I do that. Okay, that's looking a little better. If I move it up, there we go. It's looking a little bit more natural now. I'll just keep playing, trying to get rid of all those marks that don't quite look right. Trying to make everything look a little bit more natural, not have any of these harsh shadows in here. So again, that's looking a lot better. Just all about playing around and making sure we get rid of all the marks that don't quite look right, all the little shadows that we don't want in there. So this is a process that can take a few minutes, but that's okay. We got time, don't worry, we'll get there. Okay, keep playing. Play on the label as well, so you can see the label's a little bit dirty. You often don't notice these things till you actually get into the photo and you start editing. Like a little bubble there in the label, look how that shows out. You just need to get rid of it, just like that. So again, it's all about making sure you're getting things perfect as you can in shot. Just removing some of these lines here. It's looking much, much better than it was before. Nice big line here. Yeah, a little bit more streaky. Which is not necessarily what we want, so I'm going to delete that. And maybe we start, just go again, go down there. And then I might try moving that up there and see what happens. Yeah, see, you don't have to always put it onto a place that's exactly the same color. So you see here, I've cloned a bit of that pink candle and I've copied the pixels from up here, and that has actually worked much, much better than when it copied some of the pink candle. So it's all just about playing around with this and finding the best place to put your marks. Again, that has worked beautifully. And then we've just got this bit down here, which is really quite annoying. So just that. That's copied that bit, which I don't want it to copy. Over there, that's not quite worked. So just push that up a bit. Down a couple of steps. No, I'm not really happy with that. Let's try moving it over this way. It's a little bit better, but it's not lined up perfectly with that label. So you can see how we're getting the copy of the label. So it's all just about lining that up. So, come on, computer, keep up with me. Just line that up a little bit better. It's getting there. Getting there. Is that right? It's too much. So about there. It's still not perfect, but it's getting better, which is what we want. Okay, and I can come back and I can change these bits here. Still got a few more marks. So just that bit on the label there, I'm going to see if I can just tidy that up a little bit. Doing that. There we go. See, sometimes you need more than one spot per section. It's all just about playing around and seeing what you can do. Getting nice, smooth transitions from one tone to another. Keeping it looking as natural as you can. Okay, so again, we've got this line here with the corner. So I'm just going to, again, try and just make that a much softer transition. By doing that, that changes that transition a little bit. Then the last bit we've got is to work on here. So we've got, kind of looks like a weird birthmark. Let's have a play. I'm going to get rid of that little spot there first. And maybe that spot up there. And let's see what we can do with this weird birthmark shape here. It'll take a little bit of playing to get rid of this one. Let's see what we can do. So that's already looking much, much better. Let's work on the bottom. Just like that. Much better. Now we've just got this bit here to do. So, like that. Let's see if that gets rid of that. Much better. Perfect. Much happier with that. Okay. Still a few more little marks down the bottom here to remove. And then I think we may be done. Here. coming down onto the leaf, we've got some undesirable marks on the leaf here as well. So it's not always just your product, you've got to pay attention to the props as well as you're going through stuff. So keep an eye out on everything that you're doing. Again, just a little bit on the wood here. There's a couple of little scratches there. Don't look so great. Again, just making sure where the sample is coming from actually matches perfectly. So just then that went up to a blurry area and it didn't match how I wanted it to. So it's all about keeping an eye out, paying attention to the details and everything that is happening within the picture. Okay, I think I am pretty happy with that. So, delete that one and that one, that one. Let's zoom out and let's see what that looks like. That's looking so much better than it was before. So again, let's go back to the original photo, which is this one here. So that was the original photo that we had, okay, and this is the one that we have now. So that is standing out a lot better. You are looking straight at that candle, and everything is just looking a little bit sharper, more colorful, and just fitting our story much better. Now there is one last thing that is annoying me, and that is this kind of line here in the background. So I shot this against a brick wall, and that's just a line in the bricks. So I'm going to stay with this brush, this spot removal tool, and just see if I can get rid of that without affecting the other objects too much. So this might not work. Let's give it a go. Let's see what that does. Yeah, didn't work as I said it would. So I'm just going to hit backspace or delete on my keyboard just to get rid of that one. And let's try that again, but with a bit of a smaller brush. So just going across that top there, so they're not going anywhere near the flowers or the candle. Just do that and see if that works a bit better. There we go, much better. And then we've just got this kind of spot here, so I'm going to do that, push it up that way, perfect. And then just a little bit here, let's push that up that way. And again on this side here. So we're really now just getting into those details and making sure everything is perfect. So even just coming down to this leaf, I'm noticing a couple of little spots here on the leaf. I know they're actually part of the leaf, but I'm finding them a little bit distracting. So I'm just going to zoom in again and just going to see if I can get rid of them. We were maybe a little bit of a bigger spot. There we go, that's more like it. Perfect. Okay, see what we can do. This is working much, much better. Okay, zoom back out. And again, just having one last look around that image, seeing if there's anything else in there that I'm not happy with, anything else that I think I need to just make a small change on. So I'm just seeing a little spot here, so I'm going to zoom in just here, and we've got a little bit of a mark just coming up there. So again, moving that, seeing if I can get that to look a little bit more natural. That looks a bit better. Okay. And I think that's the image. Now, this background here is not perfect. It's very bright on one side and it's kind of going a bit dark on the other. So that's the last thing that I might actually want to just change, is a little bit of that background. So I might actually just use that adjustment brush again and just push the whites right up on that. And let's just give that a play. Now that might be a little bit too bright. I might change that in a second, but let's just see what happens if I just paint all around this now. Again, it's going to be difficult. We'll see how it comes out. This is great if you want to get a perfect white background for something. This is the perfect way for doing that. Now, that is way too bright. I'm not very happy with that. I can bring that down a little bit. Yeah, I'm not really getting the colors I like. No, I think I'm just going to ignore that idea and get rid of that. Maybe I can add in a bit of a gradient coming across here and see how that works. Okay. Again, a little bit too bright, so let's just bring that down a bit. And down a bit. So it adds a bit more light again on that candle and starts to soften in that light from the side there. Maybe I can move that around a little bit too much. And something kind of like that maybe. Add a little bit more light. Maybe a little bit of saturation down. Get rid of some of that colour up there. There we go. That's looking, turn it a little bit more grey as opposed to the white, the sort of orangey colour that we had. So that's now a nicer grey colour, which fits perfectly with our scene as opposed to the orangey colour that we had in the background before. Now, the only other thing I might do is I might actually just crop this to a square size. So I'm going to crop this to a 1 by 1. And if I move that over there, let's see what happens. We're getting much better light. And can I make this a little bit bigger? Yeah. So something kind of like that maybe is looking a bit better. But maybe not. Maybe the 1 by 1, the square crop is not perfect. So let's try a 5 by 7. That might not be perfect either. Let's see how we go. Actually quite liking that, bringing in some a bit more of those there, but we're cropping out that corner that wasn't looking so good, and we're getting in a bit closer, which is much better. I think I like that as a 5 by 7, like that. We've got that candle really standing out. We've got the matches, we've got the flowers, we've got the lid, we've got the leaf, and we've got the wooden stool on which everything is standing. So I think that is looking really great. I am happy with that. So let's just show you the before and after. Ooh, there we go. So that is the before and after photos there. So you can see this is the photo straight out of the camera, and this is what I have done to edit it and how it now looks after I have edited it. That candle is now standing out. We've got a much nicer tone of colours in the picture, and it looks a lot cleaner. We've removed some of those bad reflections from the glass. Not all of them. There are still some reflections in there. I don't believe in removing all the reflections. It can take forever, and then it just doesn't look so natural if you get rid of all the reflections. So just get rid of the ones that are really distracting and soften some of those that are looking a little bit bad. Alright, so that was everything that I wanted to show you in today's lesson. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something about how to edit your photos in Adobe Lightroom. You can also use all the tools that I have just been talking about in the Adobe Lightroom app as well. So if you want to learn more about how to do that, just let me know in the comments. If you have enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give me a thumbs up and you click the subscribe button to get notifications about more videos just like this one. I share a video every Friday at 5 p.m. so make sure you check out for them. If you have enjoyed this, again, let me know in the comments, and that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye bye.